Once upon a time, in a not-so-enchanted forest, lived a lovely little pig named Snow Pig. Wanna know a secret? Promise not to tell? Oh, it's adorable, just like a doll's house. What a mess! I'll just tidy up a bit.
Someone's been sleeping in my bed.
Oh, you're trolls. How do you do?
We do what we like.
If you let me stay, I'll keep house for you. I'll wash and sew and sweep and cook.
Cook, humph.
The trolls weren't so sure about this whole arrangement, but the idea of a home-cooked meal was too tempting to resist. So, they all sat down at their giant table as Snow Pig brought out a huge tureen of soup. Grumpy sniffed it suspiciously. "What is it?" he grumbled. Snow Pig beamed. "It's turnip soup." The trolls looked at each other, then back at the soup. They took a hesitant sip, and their eyes widened. It was delicious. The next morning, the 7 trolls got ready for work at the jewel mine. Before they left, the head troll, Doc, wagged a big, rocky finger at Snow Pig. "Now, don't you let nobody or nothing in the house," he warned. The other trolls chimed in. "She's a sly one, full of witchcraft. You'll be a fool if you let her in." Grumpy just pointed a thumb over his shoulder and grumbled, "Mark my words, there's trouble a-brewin'." And with a hearty hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to work we go, they marched out the door. Alone in the cottage, Snow Pig got right to work. She couldn't stand the mess. With a cheerful tune, she started to tidy up. "Just whistle while you work," she sang, her little snout twitching with determination. She scrubbed the floors until they shone, dusted cobwebs from the rafters, and even washed the trolls' enormous socks. The forest animals, drawn by her happy singing, came to help. Birds flew in to hang laundry on the line. Squirrels used their bushy tails to dust, and a friendly deer helped her wring out a giant blanket. The cottage was transformed from a gloomy cavern into a cozy, sparkling home. Meanwhile, in a dark castle far away, the evil queen was consulting her magic mirror. "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" she demanded. The face in the mirror swirled in reply. "Over the 7 jeweled hills, beyond the 7th fall, in the cottage of the 7 trolls, Snow Pig is fairest of all." The queen shrieked with rage. "Snow Pig, lying dead in the forest. The huntsman has failed me." Her eyes glowed with wicked intent. "I'll go myself to the cottage of the 7 trolls. I'll give her a taste of this." She cackled as she hurried down to her secret laboratory. She transformed herself into a hunched, old peddler woman with a wart on her nose and a sinister grin. Peeking out, Snow Pig saw the old woman, clutching a basket. "All alone, my pet?" the hag croaked. Snow Pig, remembering the troll's warning, was cautious. "Yes, I am, but I'm not supposed to talk to strangers." The old woman gave a wheezing laugh. "Oh, don't be scared, dearie. I'm just a poor old woman, but I've got something special for a pretty little thing like you." She held up a bright red, glistening caramel apple. "It's a magic wishing apple," she whispered conspiratorially. "One bite, and all your dreams will come true." Snow Pig's eyes widened. A wishing apple. She thought of all the things she could wish for. The forest animals, sensing danger, chattered and tried to pull her away, but the apple looked so tempting. "Oh, it does look delicious," she said. "Just one bite?" The old woman nodded eagerly. "That's all it takes." Snow Pig took the caramel apple, closed her eyes, and made a wish. I wish for someone to take me away to his castle, where we'll live happily ever after. She took a big, juicy bite. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed to the floor, the half-eaten caramel apple falling from her hand. The evil queen cackled triumphantly. "Now I'm the fairest of them all," she shrieked, before disappearing into the forest. Miles away in the mine, the trolls suddenly felt a sense of dread. The forest animals, in a panic, had raced to find them, tugging at their clothes and trying to lead them home. "What is it? What's wrong?" Dog cried, realizing something terrible had happened to Snow Pig. They dropped their tools and raced back to the cottage as fast as their big troll feet could carry them. They burst through the door to find Snow Pig lying still and silent on the floor. She's, one of them stammered. Grumpy knelt down, his usual scowl replaced with a look of pure sorrow. They had grown to love the little pig who had brought so much warmth and cheer into their lives. They built a beautiful glass coffin for her, so they could still see her lovely face, and kept a tearful vigil. One day, a handsome boar prince, who had heard tales of a beautiful pig sleeping in the glass coffin, came riding through the forest. He'd been searching far and wide for a piglet he'd met once and fallen for, whose singing was the most beautiful sound he'd ever heard. He saw the grieving trolls and the glass coffin. He dismounted his trusty steed and approached. It was her, the piglet of his dreams. He leaned down and, finding her just as lovely in sleep as she was in song, gave her a gentle nudge with his snout. Slowly, Snow Pig's eyes fluttered open. The piece of poisoned caramel apple had been dislodged. She sat up and looked around, first at the teary-eyed trolls, and then at the handsome boar prince gazing at her with adoration. The trolls erupted in cheers. Snow Pig looked at the prince, and he looked at her. It was love at first sight again. The boar prince lifted Snow Pig onto his steed, and she turned to wave a happy goodbye to her 7 troll friends. They all waved back, even Grumpy, who managed a small, sad smile. And so, Snow Pig and the boar prince rode off to his castle, where they ate the finest truffles and lived happily ever after. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fairy tales with a twist.